Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new episode of my Twin Flame story week by week. I believe this is episode 17. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about first my upcoming book, which I'm super excited about. And the second thing I'm going to talk about is a very famous trial that is currently happening and has been happening for the last 4 weeks. And it's not so much about the trial itself as much as about the archetypes. So we're going to talk about that because I think it's really important to kind of outline the archetypes. And I'm really fascinated with the archetypal energy that seems to be emerging and coming out in that very specific, very famous trial. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and stay tuned. If you are new, thanks for subscribing below. Please do give the video a thumbs up and hit that bell so you can get notifications of all my upcoming videos. So I'm here with Grogu again, and I am going to get a Grogu. I'm going to get a mascot. Grogu's my mascot. Got some green tea happening right here. And we are going to sit back and chat. And I anticipate right now, even though I don't know exactly, I do anticipate that this vlog will be really long. So if you want to break it down and watch it into 2 parts or listen to it in 2 parts when you are doing something like laundry, that is when I listen to my favorite podcasts, vlogs. I'm doing tasks that I don't particularly enjoy doing, but I get to listen while doing. So let's just start with, my Twin Flame story week by week. Updates. I don't know about you guys, but I have certainly felt the energies getting much, much better. In the beginning of 2022, the energies were super challenging. Even into March, late March, early April, the energies were so incredibly challenging. And now that we are in May, yes, we are in May of 2022, May 3rd, in fact, when I'm recording this, and the energies are so much better, so much better. I don't know if you have felt it, but I certainly have felt it, that the energies all around are a lot lighter, a lot more playful, and just better overall. Not quite as heavy as they were in the wintertime. And in the wintertime, of course, if you're in Northern Hemisphere, I'm speaking of the winter there, but the energies have been so much better that I am just feeling a lot more energetic than I was before. And if you were feeling so drained in the first 3 months of 2022, let me know in the comment section below, because that was me, totally drained in the first 3 months of 2022. Finally, in the past few weeks, gotten my energy back, especially in the past week or 2. So really happy about that. Yay! Love it, love it, love it. So let's talk about my upcoming book and why I'm reading the book, the topic of the book, the reasons for the book, because I think this is kind of important, because I also want your feedback. If you have been on this twin flame journey, let's throw it out there. If you've been on this twin flame journey for more than a year, I would love your feedback. And I will tell you what about in just a minute. So I'm writing a new book. This will be my second and final book about twin flames. Second and final book about twin flames. And I'm not going to tell you the title yet. I'm not going to leak the title yet, but I will leak the release date. So the release date of my book is going to be August 5th, 2022. August 5th, 2022. That will be the release date of my book. It's about 180 pages and give or take some change, right? Give or take some change. So maybe 200, maybe 175, but around that, between 180 and 200 pages. Pretty similar to the page count of my first twin flame book, Twin Flame Romance, The Journey to Unconditional Love. But this one is very different. So it's funny because, when I started on the twin flame journey, and I'm sure when you started on the twin flame journey, you hear all these people out there in the twin flame community talking about the work, the work. You gotta do the work, Divine Feminine. You just have to work and do the work. And honestly, that's a very vague term, right? It's a super vague term. First of all, who determines the work? What is the work and who determines it? You know, who determines that work? And the twin flame journey does not come with a handbook. It doesn't come with a manual. A lot of it is like ethereal experiences happening in the 5D, right? So like, what is the work exactly? And of course, like I personally have developed 2 courses, the Twin Flame Divine Feminine Bootcamp 1, which is about the twin flame journey and how to navigate it. And then Twin Flame Divine Feminine Bootcamp number 2, which is called The Healing. And that is really about your personal work, personal journey on the twin flame journey. Combined, those 2 courses have over roughly, let's calculate, over 23 hours of content, which is designed to help you move forward on your twin flame journey and move through with some certainty. Okay. But I'm a twin flame. I've been a life coach forever. I don't even have all the answers, right? And so roughly for those 2 courses, currently at the price point that I have them, right? We're talking about price point and the courses and the over 23 hours of content. So the price point is around $660 for the 2 courses, okay? And so that's a pretty high price point that I consider for most people, right? Most people don't have $660 just lying around in their back pocket, on their dresser, or in their bank account, right? Most people don't. So it is a pretty high price point for those of you who don't have that kind of money sitting around. Now, what kind of sickens me, and I'll tell you this straight up because I haven't done a lot of research as far as other twin flame coaches. I know a few, and the only reason I know of a few is because when my sister was awakened to the fact that she was a twin flame, she took many of these courses from other YouTubers, other coaches, and then I got wind of the price points of those courses. So I am getting wind, and again, I have not done the research. Maybe if you've done the research, you can tell me. I've heard that a lot of twin flame courses are in the upwards of $1,000 to several $1,000s. I think the one that my sister did was like $7,000. Seriously, it was 7 or 8,000 even. So I don't believe in that. Like, I don't believe that as a person who is a twin flame, even who is a coach, I personally don't believe that I need to charge upwards of $1,000 for those types of courses. Now, I am going somewhere with this, guys. If you're sitting there going, where is she going with this? Is this just a commercial? No, it's totally not a commercial. I almost spilled my tea on myself. Oh my gosh. Okay, I get very passionate. It's not a commercial. I'm trying to make a point. So I don't believe that it is nice to charge that much for courses just because most people don't have that money lying around. I'd like to make my courses and content as accessible as possible to others out there. Again, I still have to make a living, right? So, nothing in life is free. I always say that, like, nothing in life is free. If you think things in life are free, you're deluding yourself, right? Because air is free. Apart from air, nothing else is free. So, I said to myself a while back, this is a while back, how can I make the information contained in those boot camps and also like the work that everyone talks about, how can I make that easily accessible for a twin flame who is on the journey, who needs to work through some stuff, who doesn't have like a clear pathway to move forward, who's really confused by all the content out there, who's really confused by like, which direction do I turn in? What is truth? What is true? How can I make that easily accessible to others for, a minimal price? Well, the only logical step for me is to make a book creating all of this content that has the work integrated into it so that you have a manual, you have a handbook to move forward with your twin flame journey and go through the things that I have gone through, that many twin flames before me have gone through. And so that you just have a template. You have a template to follow through. And, a book, what does a book cost? $15, $16 US. And then if you, I know there's Kindle Unlimited, right? So if you are a subscriber to Kindle Unlimited, then basically you get the book for free, right? If you have Audible, you can get the book within your Audible subscription. So for me, it was logical that I'm a writer, I'm an author. That's what I do. I've got 9 published books. I take my writing very seriously. I take my work very seriously. And so that was the next logical step for me, was to put everything that is in those boot camps condensed into a book. So that rather than someone who can't afford to pay $660 for both of those boot camps, that they could buy a $15 book instead and do the work themselves by reading the book, following along, going through the prompts and all of that. This book is extremely detail oriented. And, it's still in the works. I'm still writing it. It's still being revised, all of that stuff. So what I would love for you to put in the comment section below is that if you've been a twin flame for at least a year, hindsight is 2020. That's what they always say. Hindsight is 2020, right? So it's hard when you're in it to know what's in it, if that makes sense. So like if you've been on the twin flame journey less than 6 months, it's really hard to know, what do I need to learn? What do I need to know? Like, where do I turn to? It's really hard to know when you're actually in it, when you're experiencing it real time. But if you've been in it for over a year and you have this hindsight of being 2020 and going, God, oh man, month 3 of my twin flame journey, if I had known to do this, A, B, or C, my life would have been so much easier. Or month 6 of my twin flame journey, if I had known to do A, B, or C, my life would just be 10 times easier. I would be in a better place today. So what I'm looking for from you, if you're so inclined to leave feedback, comments below, is to tell me, like, what do you really wish? Like, what do you wish you had known when you were starting off your twin flame journey? What do you wish you had known when you first went into separation from your twin flame? What do you wish you had known about anything on the twin flame journey that would have made your life so much easier, so much better? And even navigating your personal work, like, what would have made that easier for you? Because obviously my vision is from my personal twin flame experience. My vision is from coaching over 300 twin flames per year since 2019. And I say over, it could be well over that. I'm saying at least my average coaching clients per month is probably 30 to 40. So, average that over 12 months. I'd say about 300 a year, give or take 100 or so. So, my experience is only from my personal experience, as well as the coaching experience that I have with others, and hearing the questions that I hear on a consistent basis, because there are repetitive questions, right? There are repetitive stories as well of twin flames telling me, like, similar type of stories, similar types of categories, similar types of questions. And when you hear that over and over and over again, you notice the patterns in the twin flame trajectory, and you notice what people need to focus on, or what would help them to focus on, rather than the thing that they're focusing on, to help them evolve and get better and have this be an experience that's not so heavy. So I'm super duper excited about that. Really happy to have that release date of August 5th. And later on, probably in July, what I'm going to do is take pre-orders for author signed copies of the book. And, those are not going to go out probably till toward the end of August, because I, like everyone else, has to order copies. I order author copies, but ridiculously enough, they actually take longer to send out author copies than they do, like if you were to order off of Amazon Prime. But for either you or your twin flame, or as a gift, if you want an author signed copy, I'll have like a one-time pre-order so that I'm doing it all at once and then sending those out. So that's what's happening there. And again, like super duper duper excited about that. Let's switch gears. Let's change topics right now. So if you haven't noticed, there is a very famous trial going on. It's a defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And I know many of you are probably super sick of hearing about this, or maybe you're not sick of hearing about it. I myself have watched over 90% of all the hours of all the testimony of the court case. I kid you not. I've been watching it every day, like I said, to 90%. There are a few things I've skimmed over because there are some witnesses that are super dry and boring, and I can't quite wrap my brain around like watching them talk about statistical things. But I've watched over 90%. And the reason, let's go to the reasons, because I think that's important. Motivation, intention, and reasons are super important. So the first reason I guess I can give you is the most fluffy reason. And that reason is, like, I grew up watching Johnny Depp. Like, I grew up watching Johnny Depp on 21 Jump Street, starting off, watching his movies, just really enjoying his acting. So that is the primary reason. The secondary reason is I am like super interested in like justice. And when I hear somebody accused of something, I'm always like intrigued or curious to go like, is that really real? Is it speculation? Is it just like in the tabloids when it comes to celebrities and famous people? Because there's always two sides of a story, right? There's always two sides. It's never just one-sided. There are always two sides to a story. And to that end, like most of you do not know this, but I went to law school for 2 years. I did not finish. I did have a baby in my second year of law school, and I made the decision not to continue. Well, there were a lot of things in between that, but ultimately I made the decision not to continue. But I really do feel like the universe was like, you don't need to do this. You should not do this. So I did have that interest in law and justice for sure. So that's the secondary level. The third level, and that's the level I'm going to talk to you guys about. The third level of interest is this archetypal dynamic of the masculine and feminine. And this trial has exacerbated those roles of the feminine and masculine to the umpteenth degree of what we as twin flames are moving through and transforming through in the global collective, from a microcosm to a macrocosm, from a small community such as twin flames to the major community at large, and the perceptions of the role of the masculine and the perceptions of the role of the feminine. So if you are interested in that, you can continue to watch this vlog, because my analysis of it is really going to be more on the archetypal of the feminine moving into the divine feminine, and the archetypal of the masculine moving into the divine masculine, because this case has brought up so much in the way of these archetypal roles. So as having watched over 90% of the court case, the testimonies and such, it is pretty clear that there is an exacerbation, if not fabrication, of many of the things that Amber Heard is asserting happened. And I want to just take on this role of the feminine, because that is super important here. Now, I'm going to tie this into a personal example. So up until present time, we're going to talk about the 21st century, up until present time, the woman, the archetypal feminine, has been regarded as weak, has been regarded as needing protection, has been regarded as being fragile, and just this position of weakness, right? And so in order for the archetypal feminine to get any sort of power in the past 100 years or more, right? Notably since the 20th century, the feminine has asserted will and desire to be heard, be seen, to have power. Now, the feminine for the past 100 years or so has asserted this in many ways. One of the ways in which the feminine has asserted this is by taking on a masculine role. So taking on the role of being more aggressive, more assertive, taking on a masculine role in society, taking on a masculine role in job place, right? Because the logic probably for the feminines who have evolved and changed throughout time, the logic was, well, if I want power, I need to be more masculine. And to some extent, that worked. That actually worked to some extent. Now, the problem with that is that in the feminine archetype, asserting to be more masculine and being in that more yang role, the masculine role, the feminine has lost what it has meant to be feminine, right? So you think about the yin qualities of receptive, receiving, strong in the passivity, not weak in the passivity, but strong in the passivity, steadfast in the passivity, not this weakling thing like that can be crushed. But in society, in general, the feminine energy has never been conceived or perceived on the outer side as being strong in and of itself, even though it is strong in and of itself. Look at Mother Nature, the source of creation. Creation is very strong. So the bastardized side, or the ugly side of the feminine trying to assert control, has been women, feminine power, asserting control through manipulation and victim mindset. And that's really what I want to talk about. And I am not going to pretend out there. So I want to make this very, 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 very clear. Victims do exist in both roles, right? Whether you're born male or female, victimization does happen to innocent parties. I'm not talking about that, okay? Because it does happen. What I'm talking about is using the feminine archetype and the wiles of the feminine, whether it's your body, whether it's your sweet words, whether it's your power of creation, using it to play the victim. And so the feminine archetype in the transformative phase in the past 100 years or so has done one of two things. They've asserted their power by taking on a masculine role, or they've asserted their power through manipulation and playing a victim. Neither one of those roles are actually healthy. But I'd say the less healthy of those two roles is playing the victim and doing things through manipulation. And in fact, that is what I've seen in this trial, is Amber Heard has decided to take on the manipulation of the victimized feminine, which is a darker side of the feminine, because she also played the side of the aggressive masculine. And so it was not, and so like the manipulative feminine who is playing the victim is not truly a victim. It's pretending you are a victim to gain power, right? So in both instances, whether the feminine moves toward the masculine side to try to gain power, it's asserting to gain power. And whether the manipulative victimization where you're playing the victim to gain and assert power is a play to gain and assert power. Now, there is a third way, because you might be wondering, like, Well, what other choice do women have? What other choice does the feminine have? There's a third way. And that's what we are learning as divine feminines. It's asserting your power through the empowered feminine role, through the empowered yin role. The moon is yin power. The moon is powerful. When the moon reaches its full moon height on Earth, as it reflects upon Earth and it's full, it's brighter than any other star in the sky. You would agree with that, right? And so, and it doesn't have to do anything. It just shines its light. And of course, it's a light from the sun, but it's powerful. It can move tides. The full moon can move tides. It can start women's periods. That is power. That is powerful. So there is power in this inherent yin energy that doesn't have to go to those two other sources. Now let's flip over to the masculine. So the masculine role, traditionally, up until about 100 years ago, when women tried to assert their power more and more and more and more, the masculine has been this raw, uninhibited, masculine, yang, forward-moving, aggressive energy. So you think of the hunter, you think of the protector, you think of the warrior, okay? Uninhibited, unbridled, full force, power, and energy. Aggression, yang energy, solar energy. And throughout time, yes, has that taken on not nice forms? Of course it has. But things do not work in isolation. So if the masculine force has taken on a disformed form or a dysfunctional form of yang energy, the receptivity of that, the not so nice form of the feminine, has been there to receive it. Meaning, if the feminine is playing the victim or the manipulative victim in the sense of to get her own way or assert more power, then that receptivity has been met in the middle. Okay. Now we are barring unbridled aggression, right? We're barring that. We're talking about just on a normal day and a normal form, how this is looking. And so the unfortunate piece, let me tell you the unfortunate piece, in the feminine's way to regain power throughout time, throughout the last 100 years, unfortunately for the masculine energy, the result, let's look at the result. The result has been squeezing the masculine energy into nothingness, suppressing the masculine energy into nothingness, making the masculine power submissive to the feminine. And if you don't believe me, talk to Gen Zs, talk to millennials, because that is what has happened. That men today have a hard time knowing how to be forward, how to be aggressive in a proper way, right? How to be goal-oriented in a proper way, how to even ask a woman out on a date, because they've been so crushed. They've been so suppressed. It's like this fear of like, oh, I'm going to be accused of A, B, or C if I do anything. Even if I tell a woman like, oh, your hair looks pretty, I could be accused of something. So the masculine energy has been so suppressed and so crushed. And that isn't the right way either. And we also see this played out in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, where Johnny Depp admitted to the fact that his mother suppressed and crushed him by criticism, by telling him, you are nothing, you'll never be nothing, by verbal and emotional aggression. And then moving forward into this marriage that he had with his wife that was mirroring the same type of behavior of you are nothing, I will crush you kind of thing. And he even, ascertains that of, saying like he would run and hide in his childhood and he would run and hide in his marriage as well. And so what is the proper evolution of the divine masculine in that case? The proper evolution of the divine masculine is for the masculine to take back their yang energy, to take back the yang energy that they inherently have. But it doesn't have to be this unbridled, aggressive, forward-moving momentum power. It can be a channeled forward-moving momentum power, right? Like channeled in the right direction, channeled in the proper direction, but where they don't feel shame, they don't feel guilt for being the masculine archetypal power that they are. Because today, I certainly feel that a majority of the men, and I'm going to say men, I know it's not gender specific, but for the sake of argument, let's just say this, right? That most of the men out there today do not feel comfortable asserting their masculine, natural born power because it's been so regarded as being something that's not good. And so there needs to be a recalibration of this. There does need to be a recognition of both energies as being good inherently, the masculine energy being good inherently, the feminine energy as being good inherently. And let's rebalance and recalibrate this because it certainly is showing up. Like I said, it's showing up in this court case as being like something that's happening on the global level. Now, again, the personal stories may be different, right? Each person's personal story may be totally different, but there are a lot of similarities. There's this similarity of power play. There's this similarity of not allowing someone to be who they are, not allowing someone to sit in the power of actually who they are as a person. And also using the concept of power to manipulate and control, which is wrong, whether you're a feminine or whether you're a masculine power, right? It is wrong to use that power to manipulate and control. So it's just so fascinating and so interesting to see how this is playing out from an archetypal standpoint. And I think it's a good learning tool for the Twin Flame Collective to see how archetypes can play themselves out in the bad, because then it can help teach us how we can let those archetypes play out for the good. Because of course, like I said, it's never okay to use your energy and power and strength in your power, right? Because look, I'm a woman. I know women have certain inherent powers in being a feminine. If you are considered to be a divine feminine, right? Or just a feminine archetypal power. And I know that it is easy to use your inherent feminine power as a manipulative tool to get what you want and to hurt other people. I know that for a fact. And so that does not make it right. That does not make you a stronger feminine archetype. It does not make you a better person. It makes you a worse person. It makes you much, much worse. And my sister and I actually had an experience of this with a personal experience that we're going through, where this person that we were dealing with is doing the exact same thing as what I'm hearing in this court case, right? Where this person is using a victim mindset to assert her power. And it's wrong. It's completely wrong. And it's funny because we notice this more and more and more and more. And I said to my sister at some point, I said, you know what? It seems like it's working now, but it's actually not going to work because that part of the feminine is actually dying out. So we are ascending as humanity, right? We are ascending into higher heights, and spirit wants us as a collective to let go of these lower forms of the feminine and masculine. And anyone who wants to stay in the lower forms of the masculine and feminine will in fact be annihilated. If you want to stay in those lower forms of the feminine and masculine, you are not going to survive. Things will start to fall apart for you at the seams. Your whole life will start to crumble to the ground, because that's not where we're headed as humanity. We are not headed back into those lower forms of the feminine. We are not headed back into those lower forms of the masculine. It's just not happening. So it's very interesting. So for what it's worth, those are my 2 cents on that trial. And I certainly hope that justice is served, because in my heart of hearts, like, I know where this needs to go. I know where this needs to go. So it should be interesting to find that out. But those are my 2 cents. Thanks for watching the vlog. Thanks for subscribing to my channel below. Click on that bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. And thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with other twin flames. And thanks so much for your support of my channel. You can buy a book or 2 or 3. You can join a boot camp or meditation course. You can also join my group coaching. The link is below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.